Also, I can remember that I babysat and run errands and did any number of things so I could have shoes and things to wear to school during the Depression. Uh, but to go back when I was little, uh, I went to school down at the end of the Main Street, and it was a big square stone building, and it was about 3 stories high. Had a big playground on it, and at that time it always had swings and monkey bars and all that thing, and I can swing the highest and walk the bars about as good as anybody on the playground. But uh, during that time, uh, they had several bad fires down at the refinery. Um, one tank was burning and out of control, and my dad crawled up on the one next to it and uh, undid the valve so they could drain the tank, and he was credited by a lot of the people for having saved maybe the town at the time. Of course, uh, probably wasn't that big a deal, but that sounded like my dad. He was always kind of going and doing. I graduated in 1939 with a class of 49 of us. I think that was one of the saddest times of my life, when graduation night, because I knew that then there on in, I didn't know what life was going to be. No friends, because no money, no nothing. There wasn't any jobs there in Barnsdall. But during December of my senior year, Charles was playing under the table. We had an old table with cloth feet on it, and he crawled back up from there with a pocket knife. My mom always did the chores in the morning, fed the chickens and milked the cows, and my job was to take care of the children and get them dressed and fed, ready for school. That morning he was 6, and he was back up under the table. I was 17, wouldn't have been 18 till the next year, and this was in December. I reached under there to get him ready for school. He threw the knife up and punctured my finger on my left hand, my middle finger on my hand. I had blood poisoning or tetanus, lockjaw. They were called different terms at that time, but actually it was blood poisoning. We had nothing to doctor with like we have today, shots or anything. I went to the doctor. This happened before school in the morning, and went to the doctor in the afternoon because it was hurting pretty bad. He said, "Well, you've got blood poisoning, and I can't do anything until it comes to a head." And by the next morning, after a night of anguish, the infection had come into the middle of my hand, and he went in and lanced it. And from then on till after Christmas, I had to sit with my hand in water and on the stove, and that to soak that infection out of my hand. It would curl up just like smoke coming up out of that hand. I think they said I used something about like 10 pounds of Epsom salts on that during that time. We made it real strong every time I soaked my hands 2 or 3 times a day. My hand 2 or 3 times a day after I get home from school and before I go to school. But then I went ahead and graduated, and after I graduated, the American Legion told me how to come to help me to learn how to come to Oklahoma City to Crippled Children's Hospital. And I spent 7.5 weeks one time and 6 weeks another there having surgery done on my hand. Didn't know a soul, and when I went to surgery, I was by myself except for the doctors and the nurses. But then after that, there was a nurse's aide and all she did was just mopping the floors, and we'd call her kind of custodial work now, but she helped make beds and turn kids and things like that. Her name was Naomi Potts, and I uh, come to. She had three children, uh, two girls and a boy, Mary Ann, Ethel Merle, and Johnny, and uh, they were about 11, 9, and 7. And I came and I stayed. I lived with her about a year and a half, I guess. A few months one time, then I'd go home and come back another time. During this time, I went to church with her and another uh, young person that worked at the hospital uh, doing the same thing. Her name was Lorraine Wilkerson.